a landlocked country in the middle of Europe surrounded by the Alps, far from the world. According to official reports, it is one of the best places to be born, and according to some, the most beautiful geography in the world. Their motto is one for all and all for one. How about a journey to Switzerland, the land of mountains and lakes? Switzerland is a unique landlocked country surrounded by the Alpine Mountains in the heart of Europe. With an area of 41,285 square kilometers, the country is bordered by Germany to the north, France to the west, Italy to the south, and Liechtenstein and Austria to the east. 4 official languages are spoken in the country: German, French, Italian, and Romansh. Visually, it is a paradise of nature. There are more than 100 peaks around 4,000 meters. There are nearly 7,000 lakes in the country, and almost all of these lakes are clean. Although the country has no coastline, the lakes in the warm regions serve beach tourism. Assuming that it is a geography where the climate changes very quickly due to the mountains, you can see people skiing in the freezing cold when you move 2 hours away from people walking on the beach in bikinis. The train journey connecting Switzerland is considered to be the most scenic train journey in the world. From the high reaches of the endless mountains to the Swiss villages in the valleys, from the snowy hills to the forests, once you experience the Swiss roads, you will never look at the world the same way again. Although Switzerland has adopted the principle of neutrality and has not participated in any international war since 1815, it is considered one of the most difficult countries in the world to invade. Ammunition and gun batteries are hidden on almost every hill, ready to fire against possible invasion. The army is professional and disciplined, and after military service you have to take home the weapon you were given and always be ready to fight. But since 2007, the ammunition is kept under state control, so civilians are not allowed to keep ammunition at home. It is likely that an army invading Switzerland would disappear without a soul in sight. The military service age is 18, and you have to do 3 weeks of regular military service every year until the age of 34. Women can also volunteer for military service if they wish. Switzerland is also always ready for nuclear war. There are enough nuclear bunkers to accommodate the entire population of the country, due to laws requiring everyone to have access to a bunker. Some tunnels and entry points are even ready to be blown up in case of an invasion. So much so that the engineers who build alpine tunnels and bridges also have to report on how to detonate them as soon as possible, and the bombs are ready and waiting at these points. The Swiss are true animal lovers. There are many laws protecting animals. Some pet owners have to take a course on how to take care of them. For example, there is almost nowhere you cannot go with your dog. You can go to a restaurant with them, and your dog can eat with you in the restaurant. Laws passed in 2008 prohibit some animals from being kept alone. For example, it is forbidden to keep guinea pigs alone because they are social creatures. You have to have a minimum of 2. If one of your guinea pigs dies, you have to replace it immediately or rent a mate until the other one dies. There is a law in the country that makes it compulsory to take livestock, such as cows, out for daily walks for their comfort. For this reason, you may see Swiss villagers dressed in local clothes with bells around their necks, walking their cows, because milk and dairy products are a very important source of income for the country. Livestock is so important to the Swiss that a Dutch woman named Nancy, who grew up here, applied for citizenship, but was rejected on the grounds that she did not adopt the Swiss culture because she had criticized her cows on social media. Now, how about some scenery? Renewable energy sources account for 70% of the energy used in the country. In a referendum in 2017, it was decided to phase out nuclear power plants. The first plant was shut down in 2019. Other plants will be decommissioned as their lifespan expires. The last plant is expected to be shut down by about 2040. Of course, when this is the case, it is not surprising that the average human life expectancy in Switzerland is 84. First of all, it is not a member of the European Union or the European Economic Area. But Switzerland is one of the best places to be born and has the highest wealth per adult in the world. The minimum wage averages 6,500 Swiss francs. In this context, it has one of the highest salary rates in the world. The cost of living is slightly higher than in the rest of Europe, but someone earning the minimum wage in Switzerland can easily afford a good three-room house in the city centre of big cities. He or she can live on everything and save money. He or she can also take luxury vacations to several countries each year. So low-wage Swedes don't have to worry about poverty. Inflation rates are usually around 1%, and in most parts of the country there has been no increase in house rents for 5 years. Switzerland, which has a rich market, ranks ahead of the United States, Japan, and the major European states in terms of gross domestic product per capita, and ranks 10th in the world in terms of purchasing power. It is one of the world's largest producers of pharmaceuticals and chocolate. Switzerland is undoubtedly one of the first countries that comes to mind when it comes to chocolate. Why do you think? In a country that is home to many world-famous chocolate brands such as Lindt, Toblerone, Nestlé, Kylie, and Springly, producing chocolate is almost an art. Famous watch brands such as Rolex and Swatch are also Swiss. If you go to Switzerland, you can visit famous chocolate factories and taste chocolate. The Swiss, whose products inspire confidence, turn everything they touch into gold, so to speak. This is because they have the world's darkest banking system. Centuries of banking secrecy have led to Switzerland's reputation as the world's money laundering centre. By constitutional law, Swiss banks refuse to share customer information even with governments, making them a safe haven for crime bosses, corrupt politicians, tax evaders, dictators, drug lords, and terrorist organizations to hide their wealth. Swiss banks are thought to have more than $2 trillion in their vaults, but that seems to be slowly changing. In 1997, all hell broke loose for Swiss banks. World Jury pressured the US government to hand over information about Nazi accounts in Swiss banks, claiming that valuables confiscated by the Nazis were being held in Swiss banks. But Switzerland refused. On a cold night in 1997, Christoph Meili, an employee at the bank in Zurich, was urgently ordered by his managers to run some files through a shredder. Intrigued, Christoph realized that these documents were the gold documents in the vaults and managed to leak some of them to the press. Christoph was arrested and fined, But when he started receiving numerous death threats, he had to flee Switzerland and seek asylum in the United States. Switzerland was awarded more than $1 billion in damages by international courts. There have been several similar cases, and now several countries, notably the United States, have to agree to provide the names of account holders under certain conditions. But it is still the guardian of the world's most secretive banking market. If you want to work in Switzerland, you should know that it is not easy. Let's say you have made an agreement with a Swiss company. The immigration office asks the company if a Swiss citizen can do the job, and if not, can a European Union citizen do it? They ask questions like that. In other words, the state does not want people from outside Europe to come to the country. Even if you are accepted, you must live there for at least 12 years and adopt the social culture in order to get citizenship. When it comes to social culture, what kind of people are the Swiss? Let's take a closer look. Since there are 4 official languages and the cantons have very diverse cultures, it is not easy to generalize. However, we can confidently say that the Swiss are straightforward people. They are deeply committed to rules and order and do not hesitate to overreact to any behavior that goes against the system. That being said, they are otherwise calm, friendly, and simple individuals. The biggest expectation for the Swiss is a peaceful life. In many cantons, even flushing the toilet or blow-drying hair on Sundays is restricted to certain hours. Even in big cities, Sundays can feel like a pandemic, as most people prefer to stay at home and rest. Considering that they frequently go hiking in the mountains, sportswear is generally dominant, which can be interpreted as a style that is both elegant and simple. Going overboard with clothing is very rare. Hiking is such an essential part of life that Switzerland has one of the lowest obesity rates in the world, at just 12%. If you lose an item, no matter what, don't worry. It will either find its way back to you somehow or be handed over to the Lost and Found office. For example, if you lose your credit card and don't realize it, someone will likely report it to the Lost and Found office, which will notify the bank, and you will suddenly find a new card in your mailbox. This moral understanding is based on respect for people. Switzerland is one of the countries where human respect is at its highest. In any kind of problem, you will always have an official contact person. As a woman, the possibility of someone following you at night or encountering beggars is out of the question. However, traveling to Switzerland for a vacation means spending a fortune due to its high costs. Even city bus tickets start at 3 francs. While tickets are not strictly required, if you are caught without one during a ticket inspection, you will be fined 100 francs. Childcare is extremely expensive, which often forces mothers to take care of their children themselves instead of sending them to daycare. It almost feels like the state does not encourage having children. Moreover, when you have a child, you cannot name them just anything you want. Names that could affect the child's well-being or disturb a third party are prohibited. For example, naming a child after a brand, a car model, or giving a girl a boy's name, or vice versa, is not allowed. 25% of the population consists of immigrants, most of whom are French, Italian, and Portuguese. However, when it comes to women's rights, Switzerland lags far behind the rest of Europe. On average, many cantons granted women the right to vote only in the 1970s. And that's not all. Women with the same qualifications as their male colleagues still earn lower salaries. We have mentioned that Switzerland is a militarily neutral country. However, it is highly influential in global politics. It is home to many international organizations, including the second largest United Nations headquarters. Switzerland hosts more than 200 organisations, such as the World Health Organization, the World Trade Organization, and the International Labour Organization. The city of Davos, where the World Economic Forum is held, is located in Switzerland. Albert Einstein discovered the mc² formula in Switzerland. The philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau and Friedrich Nietzsche, who discovered DNA, were Swiss. One of the most famous cartoons of the millennial generation, Heidi, takes place in the Swiss Alps. Switzerland is Europe's small but highly influential country, the best place to be born, a land of breathtaking landscapes. Although a vacation there currently costs a fortune, I hope that one day you will have the chance to breathe in the fresh air of the Alps.